So till now we have learnt about the CRUD operations on Hibernate, but from now we have to be learning something which is really important, that is called as mapping in Hibernate. What do you mean by mapping in Hibernate? If you ask me, mapping refers to, what do you mean by mapping? Mapping means to relate to something. Relate to something. What do you mean by relating to something? Relating to something means, for example, I have my name is Beamish. Beamish is a boy. Is a boy is some kind of relation that we are showing there. In the same way, in Hibernate also we will show multiple relation. What are the relation? One to one mapping, one to many mapping, many to many mapping. These are the three important mappings that we are showing here. Okay, sir, what are these three mappings? Can you give me an example as what is this one-to-one mapping? Okay, an example that I can take for one-to-one mapping is I can tell it as, okay, uh, a simple example, I can take one-to-one mapping, employee, okay, employee and address. Every employee will be having only one particular address. So employee will be a separate table and address will be a separate table. Both of them will be interrelated. One table getting mapped to another table. That is what we call it as one-to-one mapping. Okay, sir, then what is this one-to-many mapping? When I say one-to-many mapping, I can tell it as book and publisher. Book and publisher. There will be multiple publishers, okay, who will be I mean there will be multiple books which will be published by a single publisher. For example, if I have to tell, Penguin is one of the very famous publisher. He has published so many different books, but one book cannot be published by multiple publishers, not possible. One publisher can publish multiple books, so it is one to many mapping. Okay, sir, then how can you give me an example for many to many mapping? I can give an example for you guys only. I can tell students and courses. Student and courses. When I say students and courses, there will be multiple students taking up multiple courses. There can be student A who will be taking courses 1, 2, 3, 4. And there can be student B taking 1, 2, 3, 4 courses, and those 1, 2, 3, 4 courses are related to student 1, student A, B, C and D. So this is what we call it as many to many mapping. So in Hibernate, this is really very important. Why? Because whenever we go to the real-time applications, it is quite very important for us to know these aspects. Okay, whenever I say we have to know these aspects is because in your application there can be multiple mappings that you might have to do. For example, if you go for an employee related application, there you should be knowing how to map the employee's company related information to his personal information table. So like this, there will be multiple different, mappings that we might have to be doing. That is one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many mappings. I hope I'm completely clear with these things. Okay, so please take the heading as mapping in Hibernate and copy whatever is there on your screen as it is quickly. Be quick. Now, let us go ahead and understand the one-to-one mapping. How is it actually being done? So I hope you know how to create the Hibernate configuration file and all those stuff. I'm not going to write the code again because I have already written it. I'm going to elaborately explain it to you guys. So now I'm taking an example of employee and his address. Okay, employee and his address. So I should be creating how many tables? If you ask me, I should be creating two tables. Okay, one for my not that this is student database. This, yeah, we'll come to this. So here I have it. I have one table by name address where I will be having address ID, address line, his city, state, and country. Five important information. For the same, I'm writing the setters and getters as well. I'm adding the setters and getters so that I perform the operations easily. Next, for employee, I have two informations. One is EMP ID, other one is EMP name. I'm not going to create this address field here. Okay, this will automatically get created in your database table. Okay, and for the same, there will be the setters and getters. This address I'm going to add it in my employee class, but not in the table. Okay, next, what I will be doing is, let me create the table now. I will tell it as MySQL. Inside this, I will tell it as root. I will tell use trail. I will tell create table EMP1. I will tell. I will not tell it as employee or EMP1 I will tell. Inside this, I will tell what is the variable I have used here. Integer type EMP ID. EMP ID int I will tell. Next, name EMP name I will tell, and I will tell it as varchar of 40. I will tell, and I will close it. So one table got created by name EMP. Please notice I have created only EMP ID and EMP name. I need to create one address table also. I will come to this. What all things are needed here? I will tell create table ADDR1 I will tell. I need address ID ADD ID, which is integer type. Next, ADD line I will tell varchar of 40. Next, what do I need? I need the state, city, state, and country. I will tell city type varchar of 40. Next, state varchar of 40. Next, country, I'll tell varchar of 40. And I'm going to close this. One more table is created here. So I've created my address table. I've created my employee table here. Okay, sir. Great. Next what? My address.java and employee.java, both of them should be mapped to that table. How do I map it? I'll open my address.hbm.xml. Okay, so this, okay, inside my address.hbm.xml, look here, I'll tell class name is what? Address. Mapped to whom? I will tell it is ADDR1. That is the name of the table. And ID name is ADD ID. As I told you, you can even tell the column name also. If you don't specify it, in sequence, whatever is the column, that will get mapped. Okay, I'm giving it in sequence only. I'm not writing anything. See here, ADD ID is the unique ID using which I will be performing the mapping. Next, I will be using address line, city, state, and country to map my address table to your address class. Then I will go for my employee.hbm.xml where I'm telling name of the class is employee. Okay. And table name is EMP1 I will tell. After which I will tell ID is EMP ID. I'll tell generator class equals to increment. Whenever I tell generator class equal to increment, I need, even though if I don't specify EMP ID and directly specify EMP name, automatically EMP ID will keep on getting added up as and when we add the data. Okay. After which now my employee table should be mapped one-on-one with your Hibernate, with your address. So only I'm telling, look, boss, I want to map one-on-one with whom? With the address. Okay, ADDR is the address using which I'm going to map it. And what is this cascade? Cascade refers to whatever changes that I'm doing in one table, make sure that it is reflected onto all the other tables, which is mapped to it. So only I'm telling it as cascade equal to all. I hope I'm completely clear with that thing. Okay, so once again I'm mapping one on one based on what? Based on this ADDR, which is of the type address. Using that, I'm mapping the things to my employee.hpm.xml with the address.hpm.xml. Okay, next I will come to my Hibernate configuration XML, where I'm telling my MySQL data as normal. I'm telling, along with that, previously we had only one mapping resource. This time we are having two mapping resources: employee.hpm.xml, address.hpm.xml. Two files are there. Rest everything would remain the same itself. Next, now it's a time that I come to my Hibernate manager, where I'm first telling the connection statements. You can tell it inside the constructor also. You can tell it as connect also. What I'll do here is, rather than telling it as connect, I will tell it as Hibernate manager. I will tell, which happens to be a constructor. Next, I'm telling one function to insert the data, where I'm telling the session.begin transaction. Save function I'm calling, which you already know. The CRUD operations is really very important. You know why? Because every single aspect we make use of CRUD operations. Okay, this I need not explain because this is simple insert operation. I'll come to my employee app, where I'll delete this. So now what all I'm giving, I'm telling employee name is Rahul. And if you see that I'm not giving his ID, and even for the address, I'm not giving the ID. If you want, you can tell it as the generator class for ID also. Okay, like the way we gave here, you can even tell it for your address.hbm.xml also. Clear with it? So here I can mention it like this. Okay, so now if you see here, I'm not giving the address ID, I'm not giving the employee ID, but still they are getting mapped. Okay, so now what is that I have to do? I've created the object of employee, I've created the object of address. Now if you see here, I'm adding the address onto my employee. This gives me one-to-one mapping. This gives me what? This gives me one-to-one mapping of the things. So after which I'm calling my Hibernate manager and I'll tell him, boss, please insert this employee here. Okay, sir. Now we have inserted. Now let's see what will happen. Now let us execute the code now. I'll tell run as Java application. So it's looking out for the main class. Which is the main class? Employee app happens to be the main class. I'll select employee app and I'll tell okay. Now if you see, the execution has started there. If you see here, automatically it gave me two queries. What all are the queries that it gave? It told me insert into EMP1, insert into ADDR1. So it inserted into address also, it inserted into, your employee also. So now let us see what is the